Hello, and welcome to Web Relates. Today we're doing something a little bit different and looking at the space subreddit, where the useless one has asked, what is the creepiest fact about the universe? Atroscolo says, just how staggeringly empty most of it is, and the incomprehensible distances involved. What, Meh has replied. RE Empty Space. They say when the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies merge, it's unlikely any stars will collide. Ninja Geek says, we only know how big the observable universe is, not how big the universe actually is. We also don't know its geometry. Neighborhood OK says, just how much time is yet to pass. Every number you can think of, no matter how big, rounds to zero on this scale. There will be no conscious observers for nearly all of it. Even light itself is temporary. Eventually, every star will run out of fuel, just lifeless dark for an unthinkable amount of time. Aeon has replied, you'll spend an eternity longer being dead than alive. To which Lighttrick has said, the more interesting thought is that there's a small but non-zero probability that any dynamical system, i.e. the universe, will eventually spontaneously return to its original state in a large but finite amount of time. Entropy tells us the universe can die a heat death by becoming consistently one temperature. Nothing more ever happens. But it's still random motion, which means a series of incredibly unlikely events can drop all that matter back together and re-Big Bang, or in fact reproduce any arbitrary state of the system at all. So, on the incredibly long times of non-existence you have, which you don't perceive, there's a small but non-zero chance that you simply re-emerge back into existence to perceive them, and on infinite time, finite things become guaranteed. So, are you conscious right now? Or are you a shutter show of experiences recurring over an infinite timeline, which feel contiguous? Or are you one of the longer-lived variants, where a Big Bang brought you back to this moment but is still evolving? And since only existing as yourself really counts in terms of perception, then really, the experience of being you should, in fact, be infinite, if this is the case. If you get to the end of your life, and the miracle cure for aging is developed just in the nick of time, it'll be highly suspicious, because the versions of reality where you died don't have you around to perceive them. Xenon of Arcticus says, gravity propagates only at the speed of light. If somehow a physical body like the moon or sun suddenly were converted into energy in a way that didn't vaporize Earth, the Earth would continue to be affected by the missing mass until the speed of light caught up. The Earth would continue to orbit a non-existent sun for 8 minutes. The speed of light is actually the speed of information. It just so happens that light has to obey the speed of information. Some other comments also refer to this as the speed of causality. C-Met says, eventually cosmic inflation will push every distant galaxy beyond the particle horizon, and the cosmic microwave background radiation will be redshifted to the point where it is undetectable. At this point, there will be no evidence that there is anything in the universe other than the galaxy that an observer is currently living in. We basically learned the scale of the universe by pointing Hubble at an apparently empty spot in space and seeing that it was crowded with galaxies. With James Webb, we can literally observe the formation of galaxies at the dawn of time. For someone in that distant future, looking out into deep space will only show infinite emptiness. Unless their civilization has passed down scientific knowledge for billions of years at that point, they will likely assume that their galaxy is the only island of matter in the entire universe, and is all that has ever existed. I think the thing that boggles my mind the most about this is that there just won't be any observable evidence pointing to things like cosmic inflation or, by extension, the Big Bang or beginning of the universe. Absent of any evidence to the contrary, the likely default assumption is that the universe is static. It's only by making observations of galaxies that aren't gravitationally bound that we realized it was expanding in the first place, and only by measuring the cosmic background radiation that we got an image of a young, very dense, and very hot universe. Without the ability to make those observations, the smartest people in the world would likely never come to the same understanding that we have about the origins of everything. Arthur Dent says, the creepiest? That we are consciously looking at it, looking back at the machine that gave rise to us, and that we may be ultra rare, if not alone, in being able to do so, and understand even a fraction of it, but also that we might not survive our own hubris, and the only trace attesting to our existence in a few 100,000 years might be the dead space probes we sent out into the abyss, and the machine of the universe will lose a tiny set of eyes it regards itself with, but otherwise not care at all. Slick Ruster says that atoms are mostly empty space. In other words, matter isn't solid. It seems to me like the more we learn about the universe, the more indistinguishable it is from magic. Well, you know the old saying, today's magic is tomorrow's science. Rishwith says, it is possible that empty space is not, as we observe it, in its lowest energy state. If this is true, then it's possible that at some point a patch of space will spontaneously revert to its lowest energy state. If this happens, that patch will start propagating out in all directions at the speed of causality. This is referred to as false vacuum decay. Anything it reaches will be instantly snuffed out, and since it's traveling as fast as anything can possibly travel, there's no way to observe it coming, no way to send out a warning. You will suddenly blink out of existence, and there's nothing you or anyone else can do about it. Superman has responded. The one silver lining to the possibility of false vacuum decay is its speed. If it happens, and if it reaches Earth, everyone and everything on Earth will be eradicated literally faster than we can process that anything is wrong. We would never know any fear or pain coming from this event. No fear, no pain, no terror. Just an abrupt, painless ceasing. Skeptics has replied to that, oh wow, I thought you were going to say the exact opposite. That if false vacuum decay were to occur, it doesn't move any faster than the speed of light. So if it were to happen somewhere in the universe, there's a chance that due to the expansion of the universe outpacing the speed of light, it may never reach us. Night on Fire says, the box universe conception of the universe arises from Einstein's theories, which proves that how our brains perceive time is not reflective of underlying reality. If the box theory is true, as far as I know, it would mean that everything contained in the universe will always be there forever, so long as the universe exists. No point in space-time is more real than any other coordinate. So we kind of are immortal, but it's the poor man's immortality because we can't enjoy it. What's creepy about it is it makes me feel like I'm in something akin to a simulation. If an entity wanted to study a system, it would be convenient to simply plug in the coordinate and see how the physics unfolded at that coordinate. It also leads to the creepy fact that through math, the underlying structure of the universe is discoverable, even though we can't perceive it as it really is with our 5 senses. The universe is computable, and one of the properties of the universe is entities inside it can discover that fact. RSNGG says, if the universe is truly infinite, and there's only a limited number of arrangements atoms can shape themselves into, then there is another version of you out there living a life that we'll never know, because we can't travel faster than the speed of light and overtake the expansion of the universe to catch up to them. Taco Eater says, realistically, we understand black holes, but relativity is more about calculations. To understand how it works requires a quantum understanding. Quantum physics is all about creating theories and developing clever tests to confirm those theories. Higgs boson, for example. There are unanswered questions about what singularities and black holes look like on a quantum level. Relativity tells us that they have a zero width, but quantum physics kind of breaks there and would tell us that they have a very minuscule radius, not zero. If they do have a width, what is it made of, quantum speaking? That's an example of a big unanswered question. Also, if they do have a width, what's it like inside? We believe that the laws of physics were messy during the high-pressure start of the Big Bang. Do the laws of physics even stay the same inside that singularity? Another big question. The problem is, by rule, you can never observe a singularity. We see interaction with black holes all the time, but that is always their event horizon and nearby, not the singularity in the middle itself. Information about a singularity cannot be seen. Basically, singularities are the most extreme application of physics in the known universe. and probably would explain the most about how our universe works and was created. Knowing how a singularity was composed would probably answer most or all of our remaining questions about physics and more. However, singularities fundamentally cannot be studied, and we fundamentally can never observe what they are made of. It's very possible that there is no way for us to ever learn this information about the most important piece of physics. Also, if that's not creepy, while they have zero width, they do spin. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I know this is a bit different from the usual content, but I stumbled across it and I thought it was really interesting. And then towards the end, maybe a bit creepy. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed the content, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers!